Will we see a Fury as a heavyweight champion in 2017, or is it too early? I'm Teekosey, and this is with just 15 defeats. Teekosey here, and thanks for joining me on With Just 15 Defeats, the boxing show exclusive to YouTube. Today's show, we're going to be discussing the heavyweight championship of the world being fought between the champion Joseph Parker and the challenger Hughie Fury. Now, in my opinion, this is a big fight. It's a big opportunity for both guys to show what they're made of. And if you want to know my exclusive prediction on this fight, whether Parker's going to retain it or whether Hughie is going to wrestle it from him, just like his cousin Tyson did a year ago against Klitschko, you're going to have to wait until the end of this video for that prediction. Now, I just want to bring your attention to my channel to let you know that I've put together a top 15 ranking of the heavyweights for January 2017. So depending on when you watch this video will determine how relevant it is, because we do have a number of big fights in the next couple of weeks. But at the end of April, we will be getting a new ranking system. So you have to check out the channel, hit the subscribe button, and check out that video. There's also going to be a number of big fights previews, but I'm also going to be introducing a series of bite-sized videos, if I'm capable of producing bite-sized videos, where I'm going to be proposing questions and answering them on the big topics of boxing. So if you've got any questions that you want me to answer, go down to the comments section and propose those questions, but make sure you let me know that they're a question that I can put on a show, not just a question for me to debate with you beneath this video. Now, this video is Joseph Parker versus Hughie Fury, and if you've got any comments about that, you need to check out, you got any comments on that, you need to let me know, because I will debate my opinion to the death. So remember to leave me in the comments below, and let's start the debate. So this fight has come about primarily because Tyson had the belt. He relinquished the belt towards the end of last year. It was made available, and then Andy Ruiz Jr., Joseph Parker fought for this vacant title. Joseph Parker won it, okay? We then had a number of mandatory challengers or number one contenders that were made for this title. In the end, it ended up being Hughie Fury. Hughie Fury versus Parker has been made, and it's going to take place in April. It's a very interesting fight. It's a very interesting fight. And just the other day, last week, I heard someone saying that this is going to be a boring fight. I think this is going to be further than the truth. I think this has got brilliant fight written all over it, because you've got two young, hungry, athletic, highly skillful and mobile heavyweights going in the ring for like the first time for a long time. So we're going to get. I think this is going to be a cracking fight. I think both could probably win. But if you want to know my actual prediction, you have to wait until the end of this video, okay? So remember to watch through this video, leave me the comments, and then once I give my prediction, hit me up in the comments as well. So in this video, we're going to talk about the fighters individually as quickly as I possibly can, and then we're going to talk about the key points of this fight, which is obviously the crucial thing, and then we end up with my prediction. So let's start with Joseph Parker, the champion. He's 22-0. He's got 18 victories, and he's been a professional for about 5 years. He's around about the 6'4", 240 pounds. So that's about your average size of a modern heavyweight. There are bigger guys in the heavyweight division, and there are smaller guys, okay? So he's about average. What does Joseph Parker bring to the table? He's got a phenomenal jab, one of the best in the division. Okay, it's very rapid, double, triple, and it keeps his opponent at bay, or he has the ability to do it if he wants to. He's a very fluid. He's got very fluid body movement, very relaxed. He leans forward a lot. In more of a kind of MMA striker style. I've mentioned that before in my videos about Joseph Parker. He's got a very confident and cocky stance, which I kind of like. He's got great power, and he's a phenomenal finisher that can close the show. We know that there's so many boxers that just are unable to close the show and finish their opponents. And Joseph Parker's definitely someone who can close the show. Okay. Now, some negatives to Joseph Parker. He sometimes has lapses in concentration. Okay, and these lapses of concentration can lead him to really having poor head movement and absorbing shots that he doesn't really need to. I noticed this in a number of his fights where he was really just. He was being lazy, and he took shots that he didn't need to. Okay, that can be a bit of an issue. I've also noticed that his feet can get stuck underneath him when he's trying to get away from his opponent. Now, he is a good mover. He's definitely a good mover. He's obviously athletic and he's rather quick, but sometimes he does not move in a clever or considered manner. He gets away from his opponent rather quickly, but that can sometimes lead to a stumble. His feet get kind of left behind, and that's not always good. It's something that realistically, if I was training Joseph Parker, that would be one of the things that I would work on, his movement and getting away from his opponent, because it can. I've noticed it in this a number of fights now, so it's not just one thing. I've noticed it on multiple occasions. It's something that he needs to work on. The other thing is the jab. He throws it a lot. But a lot of the time, I've already highlighted the jab being an effective weapon. A lot of the time, he doesn't throw it to land. He just throws it out there over and over again. And yes, we throw it to keep our distance, to acknowledge our distance, and also keep our opponent at that distance. Okay, but he throws a lot of jabs that do not land, and I've noticed this on fight after fight. It's not good. It's something that he really needs to start landing these punches. Now, Joseph Parker had an interest in 2016. He fought a number of opponents. He fought a couple of decent opponents, a couple of not so great opponents. Four fights took him to the championship. Firstly, we had Carlos Takam, a good veteran fighter, heavily muscular, good power, good stamina, good pressure fighter, and it was a very tough fight for Joseph Parker. It went the full 12, and it was a close fight. Joseph Parker won it, and for me, he won it just. I gave Takam at least 5 of those rounds. So that tells you how close that fight was. A lot of people said it was wide. It definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't wide. It was exceptionally close. And as I said, there was a lot of issues in that fight where there was lapses of concentration. He took shots unnecessarily. He got tired. There was a lot of excuses, but they're the facts. And I was expecting these to be ironed out over the course of the year, and they weren't, because they were reflected in the Ruiz fight. Next fight that he had was Humano. We always knew this was going to be quick, okay? Because it was levels, okay? Then we saw Dimitrenko. In this fight, this should have been a disqualification loss. He completely outclassed Dimitrenko. He hurt him on multiple occasions. He dropped him on multiple occasions. He was too quick. He was too powerful. And on one of these occasions, Dimitrenko was down. He hit him and he hurt him. And Dimitrenko quit. Now, yes, everyone will say Dimitrenko quit. But it doesn't change the fact that Parker threw an illegal shot. And he should have been disqualified. We've seen many fights end on a disqualification for exactly what we saw in that fight. For some reason, we didn't see that. Very poor refereeing. Okay. However, we like Joseph Parker. We want to see him do well. We highly rate him. The rules are rules. We can't get away from that, and we can't really kind of try to whatever. It should have been disqualification. Anyway, then we go into the Ruiz junior fight, the championship fight. Again, a very, very close fight. A lot of people said that Parker won it wide again, and this is it. This is not a wide fight. For me, I think it was a draw. I've watched it so many times. At the time, I said at best it was a draw, but probably I edged it to Ruiz. I've watched it again, and you know, I still can't give a Parker victory. Having watched this fight multiple times now, I think it's a draw, and I think it should have been a draw, and I think we should be seeing a rematch. We're not seeing a rematch, okay? As I said at the time, I've already mentioned this, Parker threw a lot of jabs that were not landing. Ruiz was throwing shots that weren't landing, but at the end of the day, they weren't landing shots. They weren't decisively winning rounds. And I remember someone left a comment on in my thing where they were saying, "Oh, it's been scientifically proved that Parker won because of the stats that he landed more." And when I looked at what these stats were, Parker landed 8 punches more over 12 rounds. So he landed less than 1 punch per round on average. Okay, less than 1 punch per round. That doesn't mean anything, because those extra 8 all could have happened in 1 round. So it's a meaningless statistic. I think it was a very close fight, a very, very close fight, and I personally would have liked to have seen a rematch. Okay, we now move on to the challenger. The challenger is Hughie Fury. He has less professional experience. Now, he's 20-0, only 10 knockouts. He became a pro in 2013. He's slightly taller, I believe, and he's slightly lighter. He's slightly leaner. Okay. Now, what does Hughie Fury bring to the table? Hughie Fury brings together a pleasant range of skills. Now, he's got a very good jab. He's got very fast hands. Okay, and he's got a wide range of skills. He's not as unpredictable as his cousin. Okay. But he is a very, very confident mover within the ring, which is quite. I suppose there's people display their personality in different ways now. When Hughie Fury is interviewed, he's very laid back. He's not very extrovert like Tyson is. But in the ring, you watch Hughie Fury. He is very confident. He's very fluid in his movement. He's very fast. There's confidence in the way that he moves, and he shows good ringmanship. He avoids opponents well, and he has shown to date a pleasant array of skills. But he has only shown these against limited oppositions. Okay, there are problems with Hughie Fury, and first of all, that's zero power. He has shown no knockout tendencies to date, a bit like Tyson, but Tyson has gone on to become, he went on to become the king of the division without really demonstrating any serious power. Now, we know that fighters can develop kind of a knockout instinct in their career. It doesn't always have to be that way, but to date, he hasn't shown that instinct or that ability to concussively strike another individual. The other issue is this acne problem. Not quite sure what the problem is, but in the last 2 fights it's been severe. Apparently it's been debilitating for him in terms of stamina, etc. So we hope that has been sorted out so that we get the best of both guys. Now, as I say, Hughie's opponents have been limited in their ability and level, and they've also been smaller fighters, which is a little bit of an issue, granted. Now, he hasn't fought since, I think, last April when he fought Fred Cassie, but he has fought a few interesting guys. Firstly, you've got Rudenko. Now, not highly rated, but still in the mix and still can come again. He also lost to Lucas Browne, who went on to win a strap. So not terrible defeats for Rudenko, and he's still on the up. we saw Hughie fight George Arias, another guy who's slightly smaller. This was on points, complete domination. But let's just remind ourselves that George Arias has never really been KO'd. And he's gone the distance with Takam and Pulev, who are both highly rated. He fought Dominic Gwynn. Haven't seen this fight. It wasn't televised, but it was, from what I've heard, it was a complete domination for Hughie Fury's point of view. And again, Dominic Gwynn, not a high level fighter, but has gone the distance with the likes of Pulev, knockout guys like Mansour, Tony Thompson, and also Adamek. Okay, so he's been in there with some good guys. Okay, and as I say, the last year he went in with Fred Cassidy. It was stopped due to a cut, but due to the dominance up to that point, he got the decision. And we know that Fred Cassidy's been in with some decent guys like Mansour and Brazil, and many people think that he probably should have won those fights. Maybe not the Mansour fight, because I think that was a savage knockout. There's another fight against someone he had that he should have won. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But anyway, let's talk about what could happen in this fight. This fight, Joseph Parker, Hughie Fury. What are the key points of discussion, right? The first thing is that Hughie Fury has not been in with a notable puncher. Okay, now this is a fact. He's not been in with a notable puncher, and obviously, when you're in the ring with a notable puncher, you act slightly differently. You're possibly more defensive. You possibly don't have that confident swagger that he's shown in a number of these fights. So that is something that is definitely a negative for Hughie in this fight. Definitely a negative, and it's something that he won't even have got in sparring with like Tyson, because Tyson's not a devastating puncher. Okay, so it's different when you're in with a devastating puncher, and we're going to say that Joseph Parker is a devastating puncher. Now the next thing is Fury's movement. Now, why is it interesting that Fury's movement is an interesting topic? Now, Joseph Parker's not been in the ring with anyone with the movement capabilities of Hughie Fury. It's as simple as that. He hasn't been in the ring with anyone that has the ability to move in and out laterally. Just hasn't been in there. He's been in with quite limited opposition throughout his career, or higher level opposition who will just come forward. Okay, and this is an interesting question: is that will Joseph Parker win close rounds? Now, in these big fights, Joseph Parker's won these fights because he's obviously been given these close rounds. The close rounds have gone to him. Will he get this opposition? Okay, will he get this opportunity to win those rounds? If Fury has the ability to evade some of these shots, will Parker score as many points? It's an interesting point. Okay, why has Joseph Parker gone the distance in the big fights? Why has he not been able to stop his opponents when he steps up? That's an interesting question. Takam and Ruiz, both of these fights, I predicted a stoppage win in the late rounds to Joseph Parker. He wasn't able to pull it off. He ran out of steam. He didn't land enough punches in both fights. He didn't land enough damaging shots. Okay, and that may be the case that against the better opponents, he's leveling out. He's significantly better against the poorer opponents, the opponents where his own movement, his own speed is so much better. But when he fights someone who's a little bit more clever, a little bit more savvy, a little bit more skill, able to pressurize him and close him down, he struggles somewhat. Okay? Hughie Fury will not walk Joseph Parker down. And this is a benefit This is a benefit to Joseph Parker because Joseph Parker has struggled, or it's been more difficult for him in fights where the opponents have walked him down, okay, or they've come forward. Now, people might say that Joseph Parker is a counter puncher, blah blah, that sort of stuff. It's been much more difficult against opponents that came to him, okay. When opponents that weren't coming to him, he took them out in devastating fashion. It's as simple as that. So I think in this fight, it's going to be more open. I think it's going to lead Joseph Parker to think more about how he is going to attack. And when he is attacking, when he is putting it together, he's a much better fighter. Simple as that. Joseph Parker is susceptible to counters. This is something I've noticed. And this is something that obviously would be beneficial to Hughie Fury, because Hughie Fury is a good counter puncher. He's an intelligent boxer. He moves well, and we see Joseph Parker lands stinging combinations that can be 3 or 4 punch combinations, and then he almost pauses for a momentary half a second or whatever. And it's in those cases that the opponent has the opportunity. We see it against Teekosey, we see it against Ruiz, okay? These bigger fights. We actually even saw it against Huamano. Huamano managed to evade a combination and then land a stinging shot on Parker. Fortunately for Parker, Parker took it relatively easy and then he dispatched him, right? But there's that window of opportunity if Hughie Fury can evade the combinations. Hughie Fury's experience. He's got a lack of experience, and I've seen a few things with Peter Fury, who I think Peter Fury, he talks so much sense, but where he's basically said that the experience, it's not a problem. Hughie Fury's been fighting since he was 10 years old or whatever. He's been all around the world. He's fought around the world. He's been world youth champion or whatever. And in my opinion, I think if he hadn't turned pro at the age of 18 years old or whatever it was, I think Hughie Fury would have won an Olympic medal. I think most people would probably agree with that. He would have gone on to become one of the most successful amateur heavyweights, full stop. Okay? But he decided to go pro, and here we are. Okay? One of the benefits that Hughie Fury has is that I've mentioned this before, I mentioned this in my top 15 rankings. Hughie Fury has been sparring with Tyson Fury his life. Now, there's no one that's had better sparring than Hughie Fury, because Tyson Fury is the most unpredictable, illogical fighter out there at this kind of weight. He's big, he's ungainly, he's unpredictable, and that can only be a benefit to Hughie. It can only be a benefit to Hughie Fury, regardless of who he's fighting. Okay. Now, one thing I also noticed, there's been a lot of discussion on Joseph Parker's camps, that they haven't been good. And there's always been that excuse, we didn't have a good camp for the Ruiz fight, we didn't have a good fight for this one, we didn't have a good fight for the Teekosey fight. For some reason, just perpetually not having good camps. There's been injuries that have been piling up and they haven't looked after. Why are they not looking after him? Why are these camps not being more successful? Maybe it's just an excuse. I don't know, but I'm hearing these excuses after every single fight. After every single fight, it doesn't where Parker's not smashing the opponent out. We're hearing that it's the problem with the camp, blah blah blah. Now there might be a problem with the camp. There might be a problem with the camp, but who knows? Okay, so realistically, bang. They're all my questions for this fight. Okay, so there's a lot of questions there. I think it's going to be interesting. I think this fight is the most interesting fight out there. Deontay Wilder versus George Washington. Good fight. You think it's going to be one-sided. Anthony Joshua versus Wladimir Klitschko. It's not going to be as good as this. David Haye versus Tony Bellew. Again, whatever. And then any other fight you think is going to come up. This fight is the most interesting. I think it poses the most questions. I think it's going to be the best fight. And I think it leads, it opens up a number of avenues, whoever wins this fight, it leads to big fights. It leads to big fights at the end of the year, whoever wins this. Okay. Now, what is my prediction? Well, the first thing I'm going to say is that Hughie Fury cannot and will not stop Joseph Parker. The next thing I'm going to say is Hughie Fury a better boxer than anyone that Joseph Parker has fought? The answer to that question is very easy, and the answer is yes. Hughie Fury is a significantly better boxer than anyone Joseph Parker's fought. So what does that say? We've seen Joseph Parker have very close fights. Very close fights against people with similar experience. Andy Ruiz is experienced and level up of opposition is only marginally better than Hughie's. Only marginally. But Hughie is significantly more skilled, significantly more agile, significantly more confident. Now, on the other hand, Joseph Parker is an opponent that is a devastating puncher, and Hughie Fury has never fought anyone like that. He's never had the opportunity to show that he could fight against someone as skilled, as quick, as powerful, with an ability to close the show. Now, to be honest, I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking that, do you know what? I'm going to go controversial, and I'm going to go with Hughie. I'm going to go with Hughie to shock the world and win this on points. I know that Parker has a very loyal following. And you know what? I'm a massive fan of Joseph Parker. It's possible that within this recording that hasn't come across, but trust me, I am a massive fan of Joseph Parker. I've predicted that he is going to win in every fight up until just this last few seconds. But ultimately, the performances in the big fights of Joseph Parker have not been brilliant. And there's always been so many excuses for why he has not closed the show in dramatic fashion. So I'm just going to give the benefit of the doubt here to Hughie. And let's see. This might be a one-round stoppage for Joseph Parker. And he's on a collision course to fight Anthony Joshua. But let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what happens. Either way, I am extremely excited about this fight. For me, it's the biggest fight of the year. And I'm looking forward to watching it wherever it is in the world. So, as I say, if you've got any comments, and I'm sure people will, remember to click below. If you've got any comments about my bite-sized questions, remember to leave them below. And also remember to check out my channel and check out my top 15 heavyweights of January 2016. I've been Teekosey. This has been With Just 15 Defeats. Have a great day.